I think we're working. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superman Homepage Live, the Superman show brought to you by SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. In this, our January 24th, 2021 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics, including the death of the Justice League. We're going to be talking about the latest episode of Superman and Lois. We're going to be talking about what's happening in February with the show. We've got your favourite Martha Kent, and so much more to get through in tonight's show. And to let you know how you can get involved in tonight's show, let me introduce you to my co-host, Mr. Michael Bailey. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Steve, how's it going?
Doing well, and yourself?
Doing okay. Getting situated myself here. Got a little discombobulated there, but there we go. And I see people's comments, and everything's great. But yeah, it's fine. Everything's fine. How are you?
I'm doing well. We always have these little technical issues at the beginning of the show. It's just one of those things that happens, but we're here, we're now. People have found us on the new live stream, so we're good to go. How do people get involved?
People can get involved because we want them to get involved, because Superman Homepage Live is all about Superman, and we want to hear from the people that are watching us live right now on YouTube. And that doesn't matter if they're watching on a live stream, on something we've already planned, whatever. We want to hear from them. So if we don't have too much going on, about halfway through the show, we take calls. And how do we do that? Well, you're going to need Skype. Go to Skype, search your Superman homepage, and send us a message that you'd like to be on the show. Now, a couple things that are really important. One, don't call us, we'll call you. Can kind of screw things up, as you see. Every week, this is all just, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it.
It's very sensitive.
So, yes, it's sensitive, and it's got needs, and that's what I'm going to say. Also, if we do take your call and you're watching Superman Homepage Live through an external speaker, please mute that, because we are on a bit of a delay, and that can screw things up.
Yes, indeed. And if I get myself back on camera here, for those who are tuning in live via YouTube, and we thank you for being able to find us on our new live feed, you can get involved in the comments there on YouTube. All you have to do is type your comments. People have a chat with all the other people there that are on the live feed at the moment. Michael and I are on there too. We're keeping an eye on that, and we will respond to you or mention you or comment on what you have to say and the questions you might have, and as the show goes along. But if you'd like your comment or question featured on the screen, that's called a super chat. All you have to do is click the little dollar symbol there on YouTube. A slider will appear. You decide on the dollar amount you're willing to donate, and we will feature your comment or question live on the screen as we go to air. And as we did last week, if we can get everyone right now to go and click that like button, the thumbs up, that'll be really cool, because it helps. Just helps with our YouTube. What do they call it? Those little computer robot things that the algorithms. Those things.
Yeah, I was about to say algorithm.
Yeah, they help with those things, and so just give that thumbs up right now, and we'll continue and move on with tonight's show. And everyone doing the thumbs up, excellent. Now, Michael, it's been an interesting week. A few things have been happening, especially in the comic book world. We had a new episode of Superman and Lois. Anything on your radar before we get into our topics? Anything that's happening with you that you want to kind of mention at the top of the show?
Not really, unless I'm forgetting something and you're teeing me up.
No, not at all. No, I'm just giving you a new opportunity, because I kind of like shut you off at the end of every show, and you go, yep, all good, and then we move on, and I don't really give you an opportunity to talk about some of your other podcasts or some of the things you've got going on in the world of Superman.
I mean, the Superman and Lois tapes is back, because Superman and Lois is back. We're having a lot of fun with that. Now I feel all put on the spot. Unfortunately, From Crisis to Crisis is in one of its perpetual hiatuses, because we just can't get together and do that. So, but no, in writing the reviews for Superman and Lois has been a lot of fun. It seems like Wednesday into Thursday is when that's going to happen, because I don't usually get to watch it till Wednesday.
Sure.
If the CW wants to send us a screener, or the link for it, I'll watch it beforehand. But Everyone likes my Michael in the chat likes my plaid jacket. It's a shirt, just in case I get cold. Um, but no, it's just it's kind of I, I was feeling before Superman and Lois came back a little not like low on Superman, but I just get into these moments where I'm just not as enthused because there's nothing really there to get me excited. I mean the comics aren't really my thing at the moment.
Hmm.
So, but with Superman and Lois back, and with what they're doing this season, I'm like really excited again. So
Cool.
it's gonna be it's gonna be a fun however many episodes this season's gonna be.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear it. And so you do some great content online. So I
Oh,
was just, I wanted to make sure you get an opportunity to plug it.
I appreciate that. I've got some irons in the fire for later in the year because there's a certain anniversary coming up.
Hmm.
So that if I don't talk about it, I think I'll explode.
Yeah. And you might notice that I'm wearing a Superman Australian logo T-shirt tonight. Tomorrow here in Australia, January 26th, is Australia Day, our national holiday, and so I just thought I'd be in the mood, be thematically correct, and put my Superman Australia shirt on today.
To answer Mind the Gap's question, yes, it is the 30th anniversary of the death of Superman.
Indeed.
This November 18th of this year, will be the 30th anniversary of Superman 75 coming out. So, yeah, that's. I'm just gonna after this show's over, I'm just gonna get up from here and I'm just gonna walk into the sea, because apparently it's just time.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, let's get into tonight's show. You mentioned the new episode of Superman and Lois. It was the second episode of season 2. It was titled "The Ties That Bind," and you gave it another 5 out of 5. And you broke down everything that happened: the brother versus brother. We had Lana Lang from going for mayor. Sarah and Natalie and Jordan. What's going on with that whole thing? The Lois and Chrissy sequence of what's going on with them at the Smallville Gazette, and just everything else going on with. There's a lot to unpack in this episode.
Yeah, and the best thing about it is that everything's engaging. There
Yes.
isn't like a subplot that I'm not interested in. I mean, it's just all the stuff going on with Superman. Obviously, we got Doomsday, but Lana running for mayor, and the fact that that guy did not drop out because he wanted to spend more time with his family. I I am fully convinced that the Mayor McPunchy Face is deeply corrupt, and it's going to be a bad time for Lana. And you had Lois taking down a cult that involves somebody that had a name that sounded like Allie, if I'm remembering that episode correctly. Yeah, I mean it's just really exciting. They managed to put a lot. They got a lot of plates spinning, but they're doing a great job of moving from plot to plot and keeping it going.
Mm-hmm. Now, the main plot with Superman was him deciding that he needed to go and see Tal Rho, his half brother, to maybe seek some advice or get some help from him into regards to his visions that he's having and what's going on there. And true to form, Tal Rho is plays silly buggers and very connivingly does a bit of a double, what's the word I'm looking for? He turns on, he's sneakily doing, pretending he didn't have any powers, and then
Oh yeah,
and
he
turns
was
things around,
he was playing it that
playing possum.
he wasn't going to get his powers back, and then suddenly he's breaking out of his handcuffs. So
Mm. And it was we got to see Lara, and that AI and the way that she interacts with her sons, and the interesting information that she gave us about Talro, and it was a touching moment for Clark, or for Cal, to be able to have that reunion with his mother.
yeah, the thing that I liked about Laura being in the show is, one, it was kind of amusing to see her basically going, "Boys, stop fighting."
Mm.
Um, but it was, last season, the holograms that we saw of Zeta Rho and of Jor-El.
Hmm.
Jor-El wasn't evil, but he was kind of grumpy.
Yeah,
And Zeta Rho was just straight up evil.
yeah.
And now we have another one, but it's a totally different dynamic because you realize Lara never saw Tal
Mm.
ever.
No.
And because of the eugenics tastic thing way they reproduced, it seems like she left him and he took Tal out as like revenge almost. Like I can't have her, but I'll have our son, and I'll send him to Earth, and the plot unfolds. But it was really neat that she sees something good in Tal, and Clark's not there yet.
Mm.
It was very well done. I really liked it.
And I liked how they went the whole Man of Steel thing with the shield, like, that Tal Rho was a genetic creation of her
Hmm.
and Zeta Rho's, DNA, where Kal-El was a natural born baby between Jor-El and Lara. So it wasn't like she had a previous relationship or that she was, betrothed to Zeta Rho or whatever, but she was in love with Jor-El and they had, like with Man of Steel. But I'm guessing that she was paired with Zeta Rho on a genetic level, as to Krypton's, ways of doing things.
Yeah, and it actually makes it better for her as a character because it's not like she left her son and her husband.
Mm,
She just left a man that was probably incredibly abusive,
yeah.
and because she was in love with Jor-El, and then they had the natural kid, heresy, which I will always say every time they talk about it. And here we have her kind of lead it, starting is the word I want to use. Kind of, I think the redemption of Talro.
Mm,
Um, bringing back the villain from the previous season is something the CW does a lot with its superhero shows. It
mm.
did a lot on Green Arrow, did a lot
The
on
Flash,
Flash.
yeah.
Um, they did it here, but they did it in a way that wasn't, oh, we just want to bring him back. It was, oh, he actually fits organically into the plot.
Mm.
And I love the kind of Hannibal Lecter setup he's got, where he's got like this bookcase full of books behind him, and he's got like a comfy chair, and Superman's coming to him from information. It was really cool.
Now, a couple of questions in our comments section. JPVP, John Patrick Van Pelt, has said, is Clark having these visions of Darkseid? What version of Darkseid are we going to see this time around? A good point, but there's so many similarities to the way Darkseid was revealed in the comic books that it's hard to see them. I kind of think that they're going down the same road as what we saw in the
I
comics.
I don't think it's going to be Darkseid. I think it's going to be
Sorry,
Doomsday.
Doomsday. He's written Darkseid.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's Doomsday.
yeah,
Sorry, Doomsday, not Darkseid. He wrote Darkseid, but we meant Doomsday.
yeah.
Yeah,
No, I agree. I think you know I don't know what it's going to be, and that's kind of actually exciting that we don't know what's coming.
exactly. We spoke last week, and someone in the YouTube comments last week after the fact kind of corrected us. We spoke about the Death of Superman scene that we saw in the Crisis crossover. That wasn't necessarily from the main Earth. That was they
Yeah,
showed different versions of Superman across the multiverse, and so the Death of Superman scene was just one of those Earths. So Doomsday and the Death of Superman hasn't happened in this timeline. It wasn't that Crisis reset it. It was just that Crisis erased that version of the multiverse. If it's if we believe what's out there, there are only one or maybe two Earths now. If Zeta Rho and Lara Lorvan had another son, then where do Superman's real father Jor-El come into play? Well, I think we just covered that. Do you think the earthquakes are from Superman or the coming of Darkseid? The Doomsday. It's not Darkseid. Doomsday. It's definitely Doomsday's doing, like him breaking out of whatever this, underground tomb that he's been put in is causing the earthquakes.
Mm-hmm.
If Lucy Lane is causing this much trouble for Lois and Chrissy at the Smallville Gazette, when do you think we will see Lucy on screen? I think she's due in episode 4.
Yeah, 3 or 4. One of those episodes.
Mm.
We're
But
going to be
that's a
seeing her.
really intriguing, isn't it? The whole family dynamic there. And gee, Lois has been through a lot.
Yeah, Lois is having to deal with things. She, just the fact that her sister tried to kill herself at the behest of a cult leader. And really, it was kind of funny because at the beginning of that scene when Chrissy was listening to the podcast, and she's like, it's all over the place, it's breaking big. They're saying you're fast and loose. It's really interesting to see Chrissy going from hero worship to almost contempt in this season. And then at the end, her finally explaining what happened, it was just like, okay, now I've got a reason. She's being honest with me. This is why I went after her. And you know what? She's not wrong that Lois tends to go a little more hardcore when it's personally involved with her. But yeah, if you're Lois Lane and you have the resources of Lois Lane and your sister is involved in a cult, that cult's going down.
Indeed. So yeah, real drastic family history there with what's going on. Like her father's, the head of the DOD. Her mum left them at an early age. Her sister was part of a cult. Lois lost her first child. Geez, that family's had some tragedy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just like, well, why don't you pile on? Like, you know what? Maybe you should just kill her husband. That would just be the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah. Did Lucy join the cult before or after being on Supergirl? I think we're led to believe that this is a different version. Even though it's the same actress playing Lucy, this is a different take on the character. She's playing a whole new kind of way of being Lucy in this. It's I guess Crisis.
Yeah. Crisis ruined everything. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
So yeah, it's a different Lucy. Same actress, but kind of a whole new spin on the character. Is the podcast Chrissy was listening to, is that a real podcast? No, I'm pretty sure it's fictional.
Yeah, more than likely. But there's so many podcasts like that these days that it's possible it's based on a real podcast. Yeah. But no, I got the sense that it's just something that exists in the show.
Now, the teen drama going on here, I was kind of pleasantly surprised or happy that Natalie was a little less dramatic in this episode. Oh, she started off very, very dramatic, but then she kind of, once the whole thing about fixing cars came along, and her and Sarah kind of became a little bit of a buddy pal thing going on there. She kind of lightened up a little bit.
Yeah, no, definitely. I really think that the teenage stuff is being dealt with in a fairly realistic way compared to other CW shows. She's unfortunately Natalie is going to still be in the position that like Jordan and Jonathan are, that they have to kind of keep certain things secret. Calling the bunker, that was, and making that little slip, but then having to cover for it. But I like that she was made to feel useful. It was a total television fixing of a car, because all she did was take a part out, make a couple little adjustments, put that part back on, and it started right up. Because of course it did. I was more kind of impressed with when Sarah admits to Jonathan that she kissed a girl at camp.
And she liked it.
It's the joke that everybody makes. I was controlling myself. I'm glad that you took the bullet on that one. But no, I like that his reaction isn't, oh, you kissed a girl, oh, that's weird. It was, well, do you want to be with her now? And I'm like, that's such a teenage romantic response to it. Like, they're going through some really complicated things, and Sarah's kind of processing what her feelings are. I mean, she made out with a girl. I mean, that's different from what we saw at the end of last season. So What does that mean for her?
Mm.
And I like that instead of having a huge blowout about it, Jordan just kind of removed himself from the situation so he could deal with what's going on.
Yeah.
So I like how these kids are being portrayed. It's really cool.
Yeah, it was done in a way where it wasn't that she kissed the girls, that she kissed somebody else.
Yeah,
And that's the problem he has with it. It wasn't that, oh my
yeah,
God, my girlfriend's a lesbian. It was like, oh my God, my girlfriend's making out with somebody else.
yeah.
And, and I think that was well done. It would have shocked a lot of people. But I think for the characters themselves, it was like Jordan feels like he's been betrayed, like that she's betrayed their trust.
Yeah, it's funny because, like, why would that shock him? I mean, he's part alien.
Yeah.
Life's complicated.
Do we
Things
see
happen.
do we see a love triangle coming between? I mean, I don't even know what Natalie's persuasion is, but are they hinting at something there?
Uh, I don't know. I mean, it would be interesting. I definitely think that would be kind of a it would be the only way a love triangle on this show would work. Because I really don't see like her being with like them introducing another guy or a new character to have that happen with.
Hmm.
But I honestly think that these people tend to work out their problems rather quickly.
Hmm.
So I don't know if it would be much of an ongoing thing. It would just be more something would happen and everything gets dealt with and let the chips fall where they may.
Hmm. Now, Jonathan, on the other hand, he's obviously going through his own little issues with his arm not fully recovered yet, and having these other boys who weren't necessarily that strong and muscly before, all of a sudden being able to lift a lot of weight. Are we seeing some kind of steroid use? Are we seeing some kind of, X kryptonite injections? Like, what's going on there?
I don't know if it would be X kryptonite because it seems like that's a little unpredictable in the
Mm,
powers that it
mm,
gives. But I think with if it is steroids, what I like about it is that it's Jonathan being his mother's son. He sees something going on. He just has to investigate it, and it could put him in a bad position.
mm.
But he still got to go with it anyways. And I really like that Jonathan and Jordan had that little moment at the end of the episode where Jordan's all hyped up because he got to punch his uncle in the face. Even though it didn't end well. And Jonathan's like, no, man, I think what's his name's on steroids. Really? He's popping 350, and they're just like really excited with each other. So I thought that was just really endearing.
Yeah, it's good that they've got each other still to fall back on. And I like that Jordan's following in his father's footsteps and Jonathan's following in his mother's footsteps.
Hmm.
They've both got things to do in their own wheelhouse, which is really cool.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, they have a really good balance with the characters
Mm,
that I'm just using it because it's the other show we talked about for 6 seasons that I don't think Supergirl ever really had. Supergirl never had the balance that this show has with its secondary characters.
yeah, true. And John Henry Irons, uh, the way that they've played this character, like in season one, you thought he was Lex Luthor, you didn't know who he was, and he was, you played him for a bad guy, and now he's one of the most likable characters on the show. He's just such a endearing character. You've got to feel for him. He's in this really awkward position where the love of his life, his wife, is staring him in the face, but it's not his wife because it's a different version of Lois. His daughter's there trying to figure out everything she's got going on, and he's trying to find the right thing for her, and nobody's even asked him if he's okay.
Yeah, I liked that he had like the one moment of like seeing this Lois as his Lois and it broke, and I'm like,
Mm,
well, that's just going to be natural. But this show doesn't have the dynamic of the superhero surrounded by the support team where he's got people that do different things. So he kind of needs a scientific advisor.
mm,
And that was John's, especially post like 1999. That was John's role.
mm.
He was the guy that came in and helped Superman with the tech, uh, because Superman just didn't have as much of an understanding. And the one of the pictures they released though is great. It's them sitting around the table, and Jonathan's got his hand, or John Henry has his hand out, and it looks like he's trying to sell them on something. Like, guys, I've gotten into this MLM, and I think cryptocurrency, Clark and Lois. You just really got to start investing right now.
Yeah, exactly. And that's crypto with a KRY.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Well, we're just about at the halfway point. Was there any other um, parts of the show, parts of this episode that you wanted to bring to light?
Lana running for mayor is just
Oh,
great.
yeah.
We kind of touched on it, but I'm so glad that they found something really that, one, builds on what was at the end of last season, but two, it's really good because she was doing it, she was getting the application and all
Yeah.
that prepared, but Kyle was just like, nope, I got all the guys at the firehouse, we're totally on your side, and it's you're gonna run for mayor and I'm gonna be the first dude, and I'm like, oh, that is so sweet.
Yeah, that was nice because there could have been, they could have played it for, oh, I'm going to run for mayor. No, I don't want you to. And, that whole kind of, but no, they're on the same page. And that's nice because I think these two have had enough in season one of being, going in opposite directions. So it's nice
Yeah.
that they're both thinking on the same wavelength and that he's got her back and that she's, happy to have his support. John's question there that came up on the screen, do you think at some point we will see Lex Luthor on this show?
I
Well,
am.
in your review, you thought that someone on the other side of a phone call could be Lex.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. I'm like, is it Lex on the other side? Because it reminded me of the Superman Doomsday animated film, where Lex's excavation is what brought Doomsday out. So, are they doing something like that? Probably not. But I would really like to see them bring John Cryer onto the show.
Yep.
And have it be a completely different dynamic than what was on Supergirl. Because the show is completely different. So their take on Lex would be completely different, and it would be interesting to see John Cryer play the same character, but in a completely different way, because you're different people. You're a different person with different people in your life. I'm not the same person when I'm visiting my family than I am than when I'm hanging out at Dragon Con. There's usually more alcohol at Dragon Con if we're staying in town. So I like that Dr. Faulkner's a little sneaky. They're using a kind of sacred name, but I trust these people. I completely just missed that the guy that Clark fought by the airplane was a reference to Barrage from the comics. Oh yeah, Tag returned.
Yes. So, part of the Supermen of America.
So yeah, I mean, it's just everything's just firing on all cylinders, and I am just really excited to see where they're taking the Doomsday storyline, but I'm also excited for all the other storylines too.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, so a lot to look forward to in tomorrow night's episode, which is titled, what is it titled?
The Thing in the Mines.
The Thing in the Mines, yes. So let's have a look at the trailer for The Thing in the Mines, episode 3 of season 2.
Coming to this town was the way back to normal.
I'm not sure if normal's ever going to be part of our lives again.
Everything okay?
We need to get Mom now.
Clark?
Get back! I don't know what's happening to me.
This is a national security situation.
No, it is a family situation.
There you have it, the trailer for episode 3 of season 2, The Thing in the Mines, and we get a full reveal of Doomsday, we're led to believe.
Yeah, that's what they said. They've been pretty on top of that. Michael in the chat says, I bet Doomsday will destroy the Supermen of America. It would be interesting if they went to fight the creature and it just totally dismantled them, so they're like the Justice League from the original story. So A lot going on there.
Lot going on there. Now, as you mentioned, Adam Rayner, who plays Tal Rowe, was back for season 2, playing the same character, and it was the snake in the grass, as somebody mentioned in the comments. And there was an interview with him from EW.com in which he spoke about returning to play Tal Rowe for season 2, and he says, well, he talks about the fact that he had the chat with showrunner Todd Helbing about the character, and he says, I think he's perhaps, even if he can't admit it, he hasn't fully recognized it himself, coming to an understanding of what motivates his brother. He's perhaps not driven solely by a personal revenge and a vendetta against his brother. I think ultimately his ultimate goal is to bring his brother around to his way of thinking. He wants a relationship with his brother. He needs his brother. So that very interesting dynamic there. And I think he's trying to bring Cal around to his way of thinking, and I think Cal wants to bring him around to his way of thinking. So as a battle of wills there.
Yeah, and he was kind of called the Eradicator in the previous season.
Mm-hmm. We've got Steel.
Putting that out there. We got a Steel. We got a Superboy.
Yeah. All we need is
a cyborg.
A cyborg. That's right. Wait and see. So
not Dean Cain.
No. So that was that interview. If you want to check it out, EW.com. Now we do have the new episode tomorrow night, as we just mentioned and played the trailer. But and we have one more after that, episode 4. But after that, Superman and Lois will be taking a 2-week break in the middle of February. Not because they don't have episodes in the can, but because they don't want to go up against the Winter Olympics, which are taking place at that time.
Yeah, and this has happened to shows in the past. I mean, it makes sense. I'm glad it's not a COVID outbreak that's necessitating it. But I really like that, we're going to have 4 episodes. They're going to take 2 weeks off. They probably knew this was coming, so I'm wondering if they structured the episodes to kind of leave us on like a serious cliffhanger at the end of episode 4, so that we're just like freaking out to get back to episode 5.
Exactly, yeah, that'll be really cool. So the Winter Olympics take place from the 4th to the 20th of February, which means the episodes or the weeks where we'll get February 8th and February 15th, those 2 Tuesday nights, will have repeat episodes of the first and second episode of this season. So they'll be repeating the first 2 episodes of season 2, and then we will get the 5th episode of Superman and Lois returning on February 22nd. So a couple of weeks break. All right, then before we go into our break, still hanging on the Superman and Lois theme, the stars from the show will be special guests at Paley Fest 2022, which will be held at the Paley Center for Media in LA. The Paley Fest will be taking place at the convention center, the Paley Center there, at 2 p.m. on Sunday, April 3rd. Tyler Hoechlin, Elizabeth Tulloch, Jordan Elsas, Alex Garfin, and showrunner Todd Helbing will be there for a special preview screening, followed by a conversation and Q&A. And if you're interested, head to PaleyFest.org for further details and to buy tickets. Sounds like fun. All right, we're going to take a quick break, going to play a few messages, then we're going to come back on the flip side to talk about the comic book side of the world of Superman with some interesting solicitations for April released by DC Comics. We'll be back right after these messages. Don't go anywhere.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
If you're enjoying Superman Homepage Live, then please like and share this video with your family and friends. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, then you can click on the bell to receive notifications whenever we post a new video. You can also join our YouTube membership program, just click the join button below. Or you can become a patron and support our website by going to patreon.com/Superman Homepage.
up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Bomer. I'm the voice of Superman in Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
As the airline that flies to more countries than any other, Turkish Airlines is pleased to announce a new destination. Metropolis. A city reborn, rebuilt, and stronger than ever. Proud of its heritage and its heroes.
Well, thanks to LexCorp's substantial contribution, Metropolis is now open for business again.
Come visit the city of tomorrow. Today.
We can't wait to welcome you.
Book your flight now on Turkish Airlines.
And we're back on Superman Homepage Live, where, as we asked in the beginning of the episode, if you can give you a thumbs up, a like, that'll be fantastic. And don't forget to share this video with your family and friends. Let them know what you're doing. Post it on Facebook, post it on Twitter, Instagram, wherever you can. Get the word out about our show. All right, as I mentioned before the break, DC Comics released their April Solicitations this past week, and we highlighted for you all the Superman books coming out that you might be interested in having a look at. And of special note, an interesting one was the crossover, if you like, what's it called? Sorry, it's called Earth Prime #1 and #2.
Mm-hmm.
#1 is a Batwoman comic, but Earth Prime #2 is a Superman and Lois comic book.
Yep. Written by 3 of the writers from the show, which is neat, and drawn by Tom Grummett. And I know for at least one of those writers, this is kind of a bucket list item for him, because he, came in during the death of Superman to reading the comics. So, I like that they're kind of trying to do a little comic book tie-in to this. I'm surprised they really don't do it more, but maybe it's not something that does very well for them. I remember both Flash and Arrow had tie-in comics, and Supergirl had one that didn't last terribly long. But I just like that they're in the age of COVID, they're having a crossover, but it's just not on the television.
And the description reads, Clark Kent and Lois Lane try to celebrate their first wedding anniversary, but can't quite seem to find their rhythm as heroics and reporting continue to spoil the couple's plans. Plus, learn the true origins of the evil Superman from John Henry's world. So obviously this is set before they've had their children. This is like an early year 1 type story for their first wedding anniversary, and then a backup story there. Mark, excited for Tom Grummett. Tom is one of those artists who, during the 90s, when we were massive fans of the comic books, was one of the mainstays. Yep.
Yeah, I was just bringing him back. I'll never be upset by that.
Indeed. And interesting that the cover there, everyone's always complaining about Superman's 5 o'clock shadow, perpetual 5 o'clock shadow, and rather than dodge it, they've included it.
Yep. No, I like it. It works perfectly. I like the kids at the bottom. I mean, it's really cool. I like this. It's a cute cover.
Yeah, indeed. And one of the other comic books of interest coming out in April is Action Comics number 1042, The Origins of Mongol, His Mysterious Champions, and Midnighter's Underground Rebellion stand revealed when another of Superman's truest allies is killed. Will the tragic loss end the rebellion before it begins? Or will it be the spark that finally unites Superman's forces against the unstoppable Mongol? The World Revolution begins.
Story is constantly beginning.
Yeah, that's so true. And the variant cover of that comic is the background behind me.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool image.
I agree. I mean, there were some fun. It was like the solicitations don't hit me as hard as they used to, but there looked like some fun stuff. You got the Nightwing Superman crossover in Nightwing number 89. I love that cover.
Yeah, I'll just bring that up right now since we're talking about that. Yeah, some of the interesting things that came out of the solicitations were indeed crossovers and things happening with Superman and Nightwing, being John Kent, Superman. That's written by Tom Taylor, who writes both comic books. The crossover is starting in Nightwing 89, as you mentioned, which comes out on the 15th of February. And then we get a continuation. We've actually got a 5-page or a 4-page preview of that comic book. There's some of the pages coming up on your screen now. They're all on our website if you want to check them out. There's a preview of pages from that particular comic book. And then the story will continue for part 2 of this crossover in Superman, Son of Kal-El number 9, which will come out on March 8th. And the cover for that will be revealed. I've actually got it in the solicitations, but I think that's another one of the variant covers right there. So yeah, pretty cool to see a crossover here. Years ago when Robin took his first uncertain steps away from Batman at Reed's, Superman stepped in and offered Dick Grayson crucial advice, support, and a name. And now it's time for Nightwing to return the favor, and you will see the 2-part crossover when Nightwing helps out Superman's son, John Kent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like how they're really playing up the kind of the legacy aspect of this.
Yeah, that's really cool. So yeah, if you want to check out part 1, Nightwing number 89, and then part 2 will be in Superman, Son of Kal-El number 9. And then also revealed in the solicitations was the death of the Justice League. Now, obviously, as you mentioned, it's been 30 years since the release of Superman number 75. And so DC are paying tribute to that anniversary, not by killing off just the Man of Steel, but by ending the Justice League with Justice League number 75 out on April 19th. Multiple members of the Justice League will be killed.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the follow-up funerals for several friends.
Yep.
And then Reign of the Leaguers. I think that's going to be really exciting, where there's 4 different versions of each Justice League member. It's going to get really complicated. It's going to have a lot of really jumbled art. But no, I mean it's you're going to do a variant cover. Yeah, you get Dan Jurgens.
Yeah, there it is. That's the coffins. Dan Jurgens with the other heroes left behind there. So we see a number of coffins there. We've got Superman, we've got Batman, we've got Wonder Woman, we've got Green Lantern and Aquaman.
Yep.
Wow.
But not Hal. That's that's the interesting part. Yeah.
Yeah, he's left behind there in the front and center.
And this time, the cyborg versions of all the characters are going to team up with Mongol, and they're just going to destroy the entire planet, not just Coast City.
Yeah. So yeah, a new Dark Army made up of the DCU's greatest villains has formed on the edges of the multiverse, and the best and most powerful heroes are pulled together in an epic war to push the darkness back. In the end, the Justice League are killed by the Dark Army, with only one survivor to warn the remaining heroes of Earth about what is coming for them. Obviously, that's Green Lantern. So, yeah, it will, in addition to the main special acetate cover, featuring artwork by Daniel St. Pierre and Alejandro Sanchez, Justice League number 75 will feature an extensive variant cover program to celebrate the final issue of the series. Some of the top names include Alex Maleev, Dan Jurgens, and Norm Rapmund, Mikael Yannon, Tony Harris, and many, many more. So looking forward to Justice League number 75, a 48-page issue, available at comic book shops and participating digital retailers on April 19th.
I'm sure it's going to be good.
Yeah, well, it could be interesting. So looking forward to seeing where they go with that. And obviously somewhere down the track, we'll get the return of the Justice League and all that will happen. I don't see them ending the Justice League, seeing it's one of their biggest sellers, having all the heroes in one story. So look forward to seeing down the track what they do there. Speaking of Tom Taylor, I mentioned him before, Nightwing and Superman Son of Kal-El. His Dark Knights of Steel issues 1 to 3 are being collected in a perfect bound format on March 1st. For anyone who may have missed out on those first 3 issues, oops, turn that cover off right there. There it is. The Dark Knights of Steel 1 to 3 in a new collected edition titled The Dark Knights of Steel: The Gathering Storm. This will be released on January 30th. And it says local comic shops the orders will be in by January 30th. It will be available on March 1st. And then Dark Knights of Steel number 4 and number 5 will be available February 1st and March 1st, respectively. So, yeah, Dark Knights of Steel. If you're reading that and you missed out, or you want to read that and you missed out on the first 3 issues, which did sell out, you'll be able to check out the collected edition right there. All right.
Must be doing really well if they're doing that.
Yeah, they don't usually do that just for anything. So, well done to Tom. All right, time to do the fan favorite segment of our show. Here is our intro. All right, Michael, what was our fan favorite question from last week?
Who is your favorite Martha Kent live action actor? And Michael F. Ballack wrote, has to be Kay Callan from Lois and Clark in the New Adventures. In the New Adventures of Superman. The episode where she is making Clark his costume is so good and believable. They were both so excited to make him wear it.
Yeah. Yes, excellent. Thank you. She was a popular choice because Lynn SM writes in saying Kay Callan is hands down my favorite actor to play Martha. She and the writers together imbued the character with love, wisdom, and spunk. It is easy to see how this version of Jonathan and Martha instilled in Clark the virtues necessary for him to become the Superman we know and love. Thank you, Lynn. Yeah, it's a great choice.
Stephen Marshall wrote, my favorite live-action Martha, why did you say that name, is Annette O'Toole. She best embodied the role, in my opinion. I do think it probably helped that she had more material than any Martha prior and since, but she's so damn lovable in the role, and I think her connection to as Lana in Superman 3 certainly helped as well.
Yeah, that's interesting because Martha was recast for Smallville after I think it was Cynthia, somebody was the first actress who played the role, and they'd filmed the pilot and then recast Martha and reshot everything with Annette O'Toole.
Yep.
Very cool.
Which must be weird for the actors who shot the first pilot.
Yeah. I think I did an interview back in the day with the original actress who played Martha and asked her about that whole thing. So I'll have to go dig that up. An interesting one. Next up, we had John P. Van Pelt, who wrote, my top 3 favourite Marthas in live action are Kay Callan from Lois and Clark, Phyllis Thaxter on your screen right now from Superman the Movie, and Annette O'Toole from Smallville. And I'm looking forward to the next fan favourite question. Well, thank you, John.
Ryan Ignatius Pratt wrote, my favorite live-action Martha Kent was played by Kay Callan on Lois and Clark. She had great chemistry with Eddie Jones as Jonathan Kent, as well as a wonderful rapport with Dean Cain's Clark Kent. Once I was fortunate enough to meet Kay. She was a very kind and lovely person. Attached is a picture of that occasion, and should you deem it worthy to be shared. Of course we do.
Of course. Thank you, Ryan. That's a great photo. And Kay is still acting. We were talking off screen before you and I, before the show, about a film that I didn't realize she was in until I saw the credits roll. She was in Knives Out, which I think is on Netflix at the moment. She plays an old lady sitting in a wheelchair who doesn't have much to say at all, but plays a pivotal role. And that was really cool to see her still acting. I was really impressed.
Yep.
All right, final one comes from, whoops, just trying to grab my images right here. The final one is from JP Rocho, who said, my favourite live action Martha Kent would be Diane Lane. I just buy her as Martha. Diane Lane's one of those actresses that if you grew up watching The Outsiders, she was one of those, you just had a crush on her from growing up the whole way. She's just gotten better with age.
Yes, she has. No mention of Salone Gems from Superboy. I'm kind of surprised by that.
No.
Guess it just didn't have the exposure that the others did.
And no mention of the great actress who played her in Superman Returns. Was in the Hitchcock movie. What am I spacing out on her
what
name?
was her name?
Someone will tell us.
See?
See?
It's
old age.
It's tired and I'm late. So
it's tired and I'm late. I like that. Somebody in the comments will remember her name for us and save our butts. But thank you everyone for your comments on the fan favorite question, giving us your favorite Martha Kent live action actors. Really appreciate that. And our new fan favorite question for this week is, what is your favorite version of Brainiac? There's been so many.
This should be a good one.
Yeah, this should be a really good one. So let us know what your favorite version of Brainiac is. Send an email to the email address that just scrolled across the bottom of your screen right now, info@supermanhomepage.com, and we will read out the responses to your favorite version of Brainiac when we return to the fan favorite segment next week. So looking forward to seeing the results of those responses. Yeah, looking forward to that.
Eva Marie Saint. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. Eva Marie Saint. Yes. No mention of, and Adam. Thank you for those answers. Appreciate that. Digging us out of a hole there. All right, let's move into this week in history.
Come with me now, my son, as we break through the bars of your earthly confinement, traveling through time and space.
History is heavily weighted towards the later part of Superman's existence because there was nothing in the 40s, 50s, and 60s at all. But in 1972, we have Superboy number 183, which has Karkan the Mighty, Lord of the Jungle. It's a super baby story, so I have zero interest in it.
Wow.
It's just one of those things that I never developed an affection for. World's Finest 210. This, like I mentioned, I think last month, World's Finest was a Superman team-up book at this point. And so we have Superman teaming up with Green Arrow, plus a Black Pirate and a King backup on that one. And then you have Action Comics number 410 with The Satanic Son of Superman. That is a great cover.
And he looks just like the costume from the Wonder Twins.
Yeah, it actually, it really does. That kid's up to no good.
No.
You can just tell.
Just by
there's also another Superman story, The Healing Hands from Beyond, and a Teen Titans story, The Secret Olympic Heroes. And finally, from the 70s, Adventure Comics number 417, which has Supergirl, looks like she's punching somebody in the face. And this is All Men Are But Slaves. There's also a Shining Knight, a Vigilante, and an Enchantress story in this. That's an interesting lineup. That lineup.
So much truth to that cover.
Stop, Supergirl! Don't save us. We want to die. That lineup smacks of, hey, we have these ready to go, so let's put them in the book. Jumping ahead to 1982, we have Action Comics number 530 with a really cool Ross Andru cover. Fantastic Deadly Voyage. There's an Aquaman Atom backup, as was the want of DC Comics at the time. You also have the New Adventures of Superboy number 28, which has our son, the Super Betrayer, with a Dial H for Hero backup. And really cool George Perez Romeo Tanghal cover of World's Finest number 278, Assault on Thanagar. And this also had a Green Arrow, Zatanna, and Captain Marvel story in it. Jumping firmly into my wheelhouse in 1992, Adventures of Superman number 488, the third strike of Panic in the Sky.
Cool.
Man, seriously, if you have not read this story, go ahead and track it down. It's a lot of fun. It's a big, huge crossover without being a crossover. Jumping into 2002, we have Supergirl number 66, where it looks like she's hanging out with Etrigan the Demon. And also we have Superman the Man of Steel number 122, which is it's almost the end of this series, really. You got like not too many more issues after this, which is kind of interesting. Jumping into 2012, we have Superman number 5. I'm kind of torn on this cover, a little hot and cold on it. Yeah, I'm standing by all those jokes. But this was by George Perez and Nicola Scott. And you also had that same week Justice League number 5 with the kind of more cyborg-centric cover. Going over into the real world, because there is a couple things. We have Patricia Morand was born in 1934.
Yep, she played Lois on the Broadway musical.
Yeah, on January 25th. January 27th, Bob Holliday passed away in 2017, and I know that affected you more than some others. Yeah, because you and him are pretty good buddies. And on January 29th, Justin Hartley was born in 1977, and he's like a year younger than me and looks much better, I might add. And that is This Week in History.
Excellent. And just quickly before we do finish from tonight's show, this week's comics books are really interesting. If you're interested, here is what you have to look forward to. We have Action Comics 1039, which is available in 2 variant covers. We've got DC Vampires number 4, which is available in a variant cover. We have Justice League number 71, which is available in a variant cover. Superman 78 number 6, the final issue of this series, also available in a variant cover. We have Superman Robin Special One-Shot, which is available in a couple of variant covers. And we have All-Star Superman Deluxe Edition available this week. We have Crisis on Multiple Earths Book 2 available this week. And we also have the Teen Titans Go DC Superhero Girls Exchange Students trade paperback also out this week. And that is our show for January 24th. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to Superman Homepage Live. Thanks to all those in the comments. And I forgot to play this earlier. Thank you to our major sponsor, Blazed Candle Co. They offer everything from dark sense of humour to positive uplifting candles. They even do custom orders. Place your order today at blazedcandleco.com or use the QR code on the screen for all of their websites and social media. Blazed Candle Co. Lighten up. And thank you to our patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray. And remember, if you've missed anything, you want to watch this show over again, tune into YouTube and our Superman homepage website. You'll be able to watch it in full. But Michael and I will be back next week for our final show of January 31st at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. Look forward to talking to you then. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. I'm Steve Eunice on behalf of myself and Michael Bailey. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Steve. Pleasure as always.
Thanks for watching Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com.